So let's do that transition. You said Ryan Fitzpatrick. Let's go to Miami. Miami won. The Dolphins won 24-0, and the Jets are 0-6.
There's a surprise.
Are the Jets officially tanking for the first pick?
I mean, if they're not, they're one of the worst football franchises I've ever seen on a season. Remember when Detroit went 0-16, and they were trying, and you kind of felt for them because you thought, they're having a go. This Jets team is appalling in every sense. And, Le'Veon Bell getting out of town was kind of like the last straw, wasn't it? To be honest, I'm struggling to think of a team that I hate watching more. Like, it's funny for a little while when they're getting, royally humped. Like, obviously, I enjoy watching Fitzpatrick putting one on. Crowder's out there. He's putting in some good performances as well. But, it's a little bit like the team that loses 5 or 6-0 in the Premier League every week. It's funny when it's your team thrashing them, I suppose. But as a neutral fan, it's not great. You want everyone to be competitive, and the Jets, they're clearly tanking. But I don't have any faith in them, using that number 1 pick if they do get it. They've proven. I mean, when was the last time they were relevant? It was when Rex Ryan was the coach, and they had Mark Sanchez, old white trousers himself, the butt fumble at quarterback. Like, that's a while ago now. What are we talking? 05, 06? Since then, they flattered to deceive. And also, I know it's been spoken about a lot. That field, there's something going on with that field at MetLife. Like, I'm not trusting it. Like, the amount of interest.
That's where Saquon Barkley tore his ACL this year.
Exactly. And he's the only offensive weapon that the New York Giants have, because we've realized that Jones isn't actually quite the messiah that they were hoping he would be. But, who's the starting quarterback for the Jets?
Well, right now it's Joe Flacco, but before
Flacco, the ex-Bronco, who quite literally bent over and let fucking Kansas City humble him last season. I remember Kansas City coming to town, right? We knew we were going to lose. It's Pat Mahomes. They're the best team in the league. They ended up winning the Super Bowl. That's fine. Joe Flacco just deliberately tanked. I know his offensive line was garbage. Honestly, it was so fucking fragile. A digested biscuit could have broken through. But the fact of the matter is, Joe Flacco is so far beyond it at this point. 186 yards, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns. Like, still had a better completion than Drew Lock, only just, right. 21 of 4. But I kind of feel bad for him. And what's their main weapon? Frank Gore. What is he, like 90? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm impressed. Frank Gore still puts in a shift, 46 yards, 11 carries. That's great, but there's nothing there. Like, a lot of people are asking, because I don't think the head coach has been fired yet.
No, he's also that's the thing with Adam Gase. He's also the GM.
Yeah, like, that's the problem there.
He can't be fired.
There's nothing there. Like, do you know what, right? Washington in particular, was it Dan Schneider? He gets a lot of grief. And some would say he deserves a fair amount of it. But I'll tell you what, like, the Jets, they just continuously every year turn up like a dumpster fire. They're embarrassing. They get in fights. They, when they're on Hard Knocks, you just got a real sense of, Jesus. Like, it's just, there's so many things wrong with this team. And it's difficult to watch. And the only reason I enjoyed this game to a certain extent, obviously with Red Zone being on, it's much easier because you're only really seeing the offensive players or, turnovers, which there are plenty abound when Joe Flacco is on the field. But, the only reason I wanted to see this is because Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of makes me horny, to be honest. Like, got a bit of a man crush for Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's got a giant beard like I have. He looks like a jacked up, even more jacked up Conor McGregor in a lot of ways. He's like a nice Conor McGregor.
Shout.
Yeah, and I like that. He's got the flashy shirts, the chains. He's just a G, Like, it's very hard for a white man to be a gangster. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is a gangster, mate.
Then you didn't hear the news then, right?
What's the news?
The Dolphins are starting Tua from now on.
Yeah, I mean, Fitzpatrick's a team player. 18 to 27, 191 yards, 3 for 3 touchdowns. threw 2 interceptions. That's what you get with Fitzpatrick. You know what you're going to get. At least when Fitzpatrick is out there throwing duck eggs, he's still capable of putting his head down, getting a first down, you know, putting in, like, Fitzpatrick doesn't mind going to the bench and then coming back out again. I know there's a lot of hype around Tua. I understand that. I cannot for the life of me pronounce his second name.
Hold on.
Tagovailoa?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa. Okay, there you go.
The only reason I know that is he's an Alabama guy.
Yeah.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, indeed. But yeah, no, the great thing about Miami is Fitzpatrick, he's 37, he's at the back end of his career. He's there to, you know, fulfill that. And he'll be happy to spend his time working with Tua, offloading whatever knowledge he has. And if Tua goes down, Fitzpatrick, this is the one time where you can say the starting quarterback won't mind taking a knee, going to the bench, and maybe having to come back out there if things don't work out with Tua. But, you know, they look good. I'm a little bit surprised, actually, that they've pulled Fitzpatrick as quick as they have. But they obviously have seen something in practice that makes them believe that he's going to be even more devastating, even more dangerous. The one thing I will say about Fitzpatrick, he did throw another, you know, it's the Jets, and he still threw 2 interceptions. So,
right.
You know, that's still a problem. You can't be throwing picks at the best of times, let alone against the Jets. Like, you know, my stepdad's 82. I mean, even he wouldn't throw more than 1 pick, I reckon, against this Jets defense. Tragic, mate. Tragic.
All right.
What's next?
Let's talk